Hey, what's up guys, it's Steve from Concept. So today I'm going to create a YouTube intro just like this one in Adobe After Effects. Let's just get started. Welcome to Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up application. For this I'm using Adobe After Effects 2019 and I'll go ahead and create a new composition. So I'll just leave the name as comp1. Everything else is going to be the same. The width is 1920 and the height is 1080, 30 frames per second, and let's just make it about 8 seconds. The background color, I'll leave it as white. I can just turn it off and on at any point in time I want. So I have a bunch of images in here. These are some tasty looking images. So I'll just click and drag all of them into my projects window. Then I'll just be working with them one after the other. So the idea is to have the images come in, fill up the entire screen for a very short amount of time. Then the final thing is going to be the name. So let's just click and drag and drop. I should probably do this one after the other, but we'll see. Let's just drop everything in there like so. And I'll just pretty much resize all of them because the image sizes are very small. So let's start with the first one. Let's turn off everything from here. You can just click and drag to turn off the eyeball or the visibility, and I'll make this very huge. It has to cover the entire screen, so that is okay. And I'll do the same thing. Press S on your keyboard. Sorry I didn't say it to begin with. So this is also going to be here like so. Then I'll do the same thing. Press S on your keyboard, turn on the eyeball, and I'll make it also huge. So basically that's what I'm going to be doing for all of them. So let me just speed up from here. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like I'm getting some form of repetition in the images. Yeah, and I'm right. I should have probably seen this early on. So I'll just delete all of that. Yeah, okay. I love how Adobe products keep updating themselves. So I'll just delete them from the footage. So now this is even looking better. I have about 7 or so. So this is what I'm going to be working with. So the idea is to make everything become bigger, or probably I can just leave them as they are right now. So I'm going to create a shape, a simple circle. Now unlike Photoshop, you can actually right click. If you want more options for the tools, you have to click and hold so that they pop up like so. So I'm going with the ellipse and I'll just hold down the shift key and click and drag like so. Now make sure anytime you are clicking and dragging, make sure that no layer is selected. If a layer is selected and you start clicking and dragging, it's going to create a mask. We don't want that. We actually want to create the shape itself. So make sure that no layer is selected. Just click outside that box and I'll create a shape like this whilst holding down the shift key. Now once I have done that, I'll go back to the move tool and try to place it at the center. It's not the case that you get it at the center, but I'll show you a quick way right now. So grab the pan behind or the anchor point tool. So if the anchor point is here and I try to rotate it, it will be rotating along this axis. We don't want that, we want it at the center. So just hold down the control key and double click. This is going to place it at the center. So once I have this shape, let's move that to the first clip. I say the first clip because it's the one beneath. And I'm going to place this at the center, exact center. Now go to window and make sure that align is checked in case you don't have that. I have mine here, so I'll place it horizontally at the center and vertically also at the center, so something like this. Now it is looking quite huge, so with the layer selected, I'll press S on my keyboard to make it smaller, so somewhere around 0. Okay, and that is going to be at the beginning like so. And I'll create a scale keyframe for that. Right click, go to keyframe assistant and click on easy ease. Or you can just press F9 on your keyboard. That is a lot easier. So I want this to be about half of 1 second. Then I'll increase the size to a lot, like also to fill up the whole screen. So somewhere around 240. Let's try 240. I'm getting a little bit of problem over here. So I think 241 should do just fine. Let me just fit this to screen. So let's make it 241. Alright. So go into toggle switches. You can just click from here, or you can use the F4 key on your keyboard. So I'll just go in there and I'll make sure that the image here is set, and I'll change the track matte and the track matte settings. I'll change the track matte to shape layer 1. So shape layer 1 is the shape we just have on top, which is the red circle we just created. So what this does is the image is only going to show where that shape is. So if I go ahead and play this, you can see that we have a nice looking transition like so. Now this quite cool if you want to hide certain portions, but I like mine as this, so I'll just leave it as that. So I can click on any of the keyframes first or second, click on this graph editor right here, and I'll make it look like this whilst holding down the shift key. So stretch it out this way, so, and stretch it out like so. So it starts very slow, then it rises to the top like that. That is the idea I have in here like so. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. You can pretty much pre-compose this. What pre-compose is more or less like smart objects in Photoshop. So right click, go to pre-compose layer, make sure that move all attributes to new composition blah 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 is set, and just click on OK. So this is our first image. Let me just hit enter and call it 1. Then I'll move over to the next one. So for the next one, instead of having a circle, we want a square. So I'll click on the rectangle tool, make sure that no layer is selected. I'll draw a square like so, holding down the shift key, and I'll just also align it at the center. So align horizontally and align vertically. I said align instead of align. Anyway, so I want this to start off from the last one ended here, so it should start off somewhere at the center like this. So I also bring it here like so, and probably reposition this. Let's go ahead and change a few things. I also have to bring this at the center, so double click on the anchor point tool to bring the anchor point at the center like so. So press S on your keyboard, set this to 0, move to the center here and increase it to a lot. So something like this is okay, filling up the entire screen. I should have created a keyframe, I didn't. So I'll press F9 for that. I'll go back to the beginning where I didn't create the keyframe, and this time around I'll do that. I'll make it 0, so it also moves in like this. Now apart from just moving in, I want it to also rotate, so I press R on my keyboard for rotation, create a keyframe for that, F9 to easy ease, and press U. Now U allows you to see all the keyframes you have in there, so that I can move to the last keyframe which I have here. Now in case it doesn't snap in, just hold down the shift key so that it just snaps, or else you might not get the exact position you want. And I'll rotate this, well initially it should just be 0, so I'll go back using this arrow here, and I'll rotate it about, let's try 90 degrees, so 90. So if I go ahead and play this, you see that it rotates 90 degrees like so. I think this is looking pretty neat. So what I'll do is, again, I'll go into the graph editor and I'll change it, I don't know, something like this is okay for the rotation, and I'll do the exact same thing for the scale. So the scale is going to look something like this, so that it matches the first one we just created. One more thing is toggle switches. Make sure that motion blur is enabled, and I'll just create motion blur for all these shapes I'm going to be creating. You know what, let me just open this up so that I can create a motion blur for that shape also. Now let's just close that up again. Alright, so I have these two. I can also select both of them and go to composition, or sorry, pre-compose, and click on OK. Now if I double click, it should bring me all the images I have in here. I didn't add in the track matte, so let's do that. Toggle switches and change the track matte to shape layer 1, and now the image is only going to show where that shape was. So if I go ahead and play, this is what I get. Alright, the transition is not looking quite clean for me. You know what, let's go into that, press on R, I think it's the rotation. Then I'll just, you know what, let me just make it linear a little bit so it looks okay. Alright, so let's go back to, so pretty much that is what I'm going to be doing for basically all of these images, just using different shapes, or if I want to use the exact same shape I can also do that. Now the next one is going to be a polygon, so I'm going with 3 sides. Make sure that no layer is selected, click and just drag. Now by default you have 5 sides, so in case you want to change that, you just go into the content where you have the polystar one, click on that, you should see polystar path, and just change it from 5 to 3 if you want a triangle. So something like this is okay for me. And I'll also place this, sorry, I need the move tool to select. I also place this at the center. I think this is the selection tool. Yeah, I'm still used to the Photoshop terms. And this is also going to start, and so the other one ended somewhere around here, so this is also going to start in from here and end over here. Very good. And I'll bring this also at the bottom like so. Now let me just delete all of these. Let's just work with 3 for now, or else this video is going to be quite long. So S for scale, create a keyframe for that, F9, make sure that it is set to 0 for the starting, and I'll move over here and I'll increase the size. Whoa, now do you see that because I didn't bring the anchor point at the center, it is scaling using this as the point of reference. So that's layer selected, hold down the control key, double click on the anchor point. Now if I increase it, this is what we get. This is actually what I want. So I want this to fill up the entire screen like so. And I also want it to rotate, obviously. So create a keyframe for the rotation, press U to bring up all the keyframes, move over to the beginning, and let's say 90, probably negative 90 degrees, and let's see how that is looking like. Alright, so let me just play that. I think I can also add in a position keyframe. So over at the beginning, no, let me bring it somewhere around here. Press P for position. I'll create a keyframe for that, F9 to easy ease, and over here too I'll create a position keyframe. The end is cool, so I'll just change the beginning, so somewhere around here, and I'll place the shape somewhere around here. So let's press U again to bring up all the keyframes, move over to the beginning and bring this so that everything aligns perfectly, so something like this. And let's see, I think this is pretty cool. So once I have these 3, let's go ahead and pre-compose them. I was about to say group them. So hit enter on my keyboard, change this to number 2, hit enter again, change this to number 3. So I have 3 of them. For the 3, I forgot to also change the track mark to shape layer 1, and this is what we are getting. So let's play this and see. Alright, I think there was a slight delay over there. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So also let's bring up the motion for this and press U so that I see. I think there's a delay in the third one. No, let me bring it somewhere around. Select all the keyframes and bring it somewhere around here. So let's play this one more time. Anyway, I think it's good to go. This is a tutorial, so I don't want to go too much in depth. Let's call this food. Who doesn't like food? Alright, so somewhere around 3 frames or 3 seconds, I don't know, I'm going to create, let's add in the text. But before that, I actually want to add in a white background. Let me close this up. So right click on where we have the comp, right click and go to new and click on solid. So this is going to allow me to create a new solid background for that. I'll be selecting white in this case, and I'll click on OK and OK here as well. So this is filling up the entire screen, so I just use the arrow key or just bring it over here. So once the transition moves in, I can just get the white background. But I don't want it to look so raw like that. I want it to be in a form of a transition. So I'll move over to the beginning, press T, the end of the transition, press T for opacity, click on that keyframe F9 to easy ease. I'll go to the beginning, change it to 0, so the opacity is something like this. Now I think 100 is a little bit too much. You know what, let me just make it about 80. I still want to see the food in the background, but it shouldn't be so harsh that I can't see my text. So pretty much this is cool. So I'll add in the text that is going to be I think I've forgotten the spelling. I think it's something like this, Joycelyn's kitchen, and I'll place this at the center. The font I'm using is Roboto, so in case you are interested in that, you can also check it out. And I think I'll go with the bold version because I think I'll also make everything capitalized because why not? It looks better that way. Again, I'll also bring this somewhere around here. So yeah, I think this is looking quite cool. Now apart from that too, I don't want the text to look just raw like that, so I'll be creating a rectangle on top of it, so something like this should look okay. I'll also bring this here like so, and I'll change toggle switches. I'll change the track matte of the text, which is Joycelyn's Kitchen, to alpha matte shape layer 1. So again, it's just going to show where that text is. So if I go ahead and bring this somewhere around here, I'm going to create a position keyframe for that. So P on your keyboard, this is where it is going to be finally, F9. Then I'll come to the beginning and I'll move the vertical axis down like so. So it is hidden because of this shape right here. So you can see I get the transition like so. And I think this is looking cool. Alright, now that I have that, I wish I can get YouTube logo. You know what, let me just see if I can get one. I used to have social media icons on my computer like all the time, so let me just grab one from Photoshop. Alright, so I have the YouTube logo in here, so I'll just use, and this isn't a Photoshop tutorial, but pardon me for that, I'll just crop that area and save it up as a new document. So desktop, let's just call it YouTube so that I can easily find it, and make sure it is a PNG so that it will be at the center. Alright, okay, let's close Photoshop up. So let's go ahead and import that image, desktop, YouTube, import, and just put that on top like so. Now double click, place it at the center. Because I didn't do the cropping quite right, I was in a hurry, I think I'll bring the center here. So align both at the center, position keyframe, so P, and bring this to the top like so. And I think this is looking quite nice. I can also just animate this, so once the text is also coming in, this is going to be fading in but moving from the top as well. I don't want them to start off at the same time. So P for position, I'll create a keyframe for that. T for opacity, I'll create a keyframe for that. F9 for all of them. Press U to bring up the two keyframes I just created, and I'll start off somewhere around here. So for the opacity, I have one for the beginning, which is going to be 0%, and the position is going to be coming in from the top, so it's just going to be fading in like so. I think the position is a little bit too high. Something like this is just okay, still too high. So let's play and see. I think this is looking quite nice. It doesn't have to be so dramatic in any way, and I think I can work with this. So basically that is it. This is how to create a YouTube intro. If you have other things like Instagram or other social media platforms, you can just add them in here at the bottom and you are pretty set. Alright, so this is the final work. Now of course, if you have some form of music, you can just add in. You know what, let me just change the composition settings to 5 seconds. I think 8 is too much. So once you have all of these down, I think you are pretty set for a YouTube channel. Now to save this up, just go to composition, click on add to render queue. Now you can just change this to lossless. I'll pretty much tell you not to mess around any of these. We will just be using the RGB because we don't have any form of transparent background. So what you can also change is the output where you want it to save to. So I want mine to save to my document, and I'll call it food. It's an AVI file, and I just click on create or save and just render this out. And basically that is it. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like to watch more videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Fino Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.